Time right now, 6:19. If you were buying a used car, you'll want to check the CarFax. It will tell you if a car was wrecked or flooded.
Check in with that little fox, right? Yeah. But as one man learned, if that report has two strange words on it, you may want to run away from the deal. E-Team investigator Jonathan Walsh explains.
Cody Murrow thought he had found a great deal on an accident-free used Subaru WRX until...
First big rainstorm, I had about 3/4 of an inch of water on the floor.
So he brought it to a body shop where he got some bad news.
I thought the windshield was leaking at first. Turned out it was the firewall behind the motor.
The shop told him the car had been in a wreck. Cody ordered a CarFax report where he learned
The accident reported, vehicle involved in a rear-end collision.
But he says the dealer had sold the car as clean. The main reason you get a CarFax is to make sure that the car you're buying hasn't been in an accident and doesn't have a salvage title. Problem is, some cars are repaired and put up for sale so fast, they beat CarFax to the update. But a bigger issue in this case, no one, not even the dealer, caught this line on the CarFax report. Vehicle at automotive recycler facility, vehicle was sold as a whole unit. Now, in some states, including Ohio, any car sold by a recycler now has to be branded salvage. That made Cody's great deal a horrible deal, as it's now worth thousands less.
With a salvage title, it wouldn't have gone anywhere near that price range.
I'm 5 on your side investigator Jonathan Walsh for the E-Team.
A little too fast.
Eyes on the road, Jonathan.
Slow it down.
Racetrack out there in the manana. Okay. CarFax says Cody's report was accurate, but at the time of the report, the car was not a salvage.
Yeah, so bottom line, check the CarFax report before you buy and beware of any car sold by a recycling facility.
Yeah. Also, bottom line, don't ride with Jonathan.
No. Never. All right, up next, an added peace of mind for teachers. When some are getting in their classrooms to alert first responders to an emergency.
And before you pack the lunch this morning for your kiddo, you are going to want to hear about what this dad found in a Capri Sun pouch of all places.
Oh, boy.
All right, time now, 6:24. And while the South is dealing with Michael, the Dakotas are dealing with snow. Yeah, it's the first snow of the season. This is in Fargo. The National Weather Service says up to 5 inches fell across the Dakotas. So for drivers, that means slippery roads, a little ice, clearing out the snow. Now, gusty winds, though, brought down some trees, caused some power outages. But you know what, T? That cold is headed our way.
It's coming. Snow's always pretty when it first falls, though. It's just like the day later, or 2 days later, when it piles up in parking lots and it's all brown.
Right, it's all muddy and dirty,
with gravel in it.
Or the piles that you get in the parking lots.
The dogs have their way with it, you know.
Just everything. It's just gross by the end of the season too. You're over it. But it is going to get a little chilly for us. You see that cold air starting to move in, that definite divide between Indiana and Ohio right now. That cooler air is dropping in for us. We're going to drop down into the low 60s in many spots by the time you're heading off to work. We'll rebound slightly for this afternoon, but then cool again for this evening. Dress accordingly. You're going to need your jacket for this afternoon.
Some teachers in Indiana now have a new tool to keep their classrooms safe. One district is equipping every teacher with a panic button. When that button is pressed, it alerts first responders of an emergency. An alert tells all staff members in the school, too, who push the button and where. It can be accessed through an app and only on school grounds. Oh boy, in California, a guy got quite the surprise this week when he went home to feed his dogs on his lunch break.
All of a sudden, I hear the rattle of the snake.
Yeah, he said he knew something was up, something wasn't right when he walked in and heard his 5 dogs barking. That's when he saw the rattlesnake in his kitchen. So he called a specialist to get that snake out his house.
No.
It was then he realized one of the dogs had been bitten by the snake, so we took him to the animal hospital for treatment, and thankfully the dog is going to make a full recovery. Yikes. Here's another crazy discovery, pretty gross one, inside a kid's Capri Sun made by dad. So now that dad is warning other parents.
Capri Sun, of all places. This dad shared what he found in that Capri Sun patch in a Facebook post, gone viral now. He says he found an unknown substance floating in there. Kraft Foods owns Capri, sent someone to the house to look into it, investigate. They say there was a small hole in the patch, and that allowed air to get in and create mold. According to the company's website, this isn't the first time mold has been found in patches, so double check before you sip.
Oh, okay. Ugh. Now coming up, how does nearly 20 hours on a plane sound? Oh, goodness. One airline is now offering what is the longest flight.
And this is how people die taking selfies. Hear how the gun range where this happened is reacting to this god-awful idea.
Honored with the Emmy for News Excellence. News 5's Good Morning Cleveland starts now.
Right now at 6:30, devastating and deadly. Hurricane Michael is now one of the most powerful storms ever to hit our country, and the path of destruction is extensive. We're getting a first-hand look this morning.
And a tale of two schools. LeBron James' new I Promise school in Akron is well funded, and that's creating some changes for other public schools in this city that don't have as much money to work with.
Also, warning before you start your holiday shopping, the stores caught carrying toxic jewelry. Our News 5 team is up and ready to get you going on this Friday, Junior.
Yeah, but first, meteorologist Brian Shaw tracking a cool down for us here at home.
We were in the 80s again yesterday. We were in the 80s the past couple of days, but today, especially for this afternoon, it's going to be a lot cooler, upper 50s to low 60s. We're going to gradually drop from where we are right now. We're already starting to see that temperature drop in some of our western spots. Overcast skies out there. The good news is the rain showers moved already to the east, so that has cleared up for us. A couple of lingering rain showers for our southern spots near Coshocton, and that'll head up towards New Philly into Carroll County. After that, it does look like we're pretty much done. Some clearing to the west. The more clearing that we have, the more those temperatures are actually going to drop. You wouldn't think that that would be the case, but unfortunately that is. Fremont and Sandusky have already fallen into the low 60s. Everybody else in the upper 60s to low 70s. Don't expect it to stay there. Temperatures will drop pretty quickly. By the mid-late morning when you're heading off to work, we'll be anywhere from the upper 50s to low 60s. We rebound slightly for this afternoon, but not by much. Grab a jacket today.
Brian, the morning commute still looking pretty good here from Air Tracker 5. Right now we're taking a look at 480. Traffic's still light. We're also still accident-free. Here's a look just east of Warrensville Center Road, right near the interchange with 271, and you can see that traffic is moving along just fine. We haven't seen any problems all morning long since we've been flying with you, and if we head to our maps, you'll see that all of our highways still green. Again, no major problems in the Cleveland area, no major problems down south in Akron, so it's smooth sailing so far. We're going to check in on a few more trouble spots this morning and have another update for you in a few minutes, guys.
All new at 6:30 today, more local Red Cross volunteers will likely be sent south to help with Hurricane Michael disaster relief.
6 volunteers from Northeast Ohio already there. Mona is at the live desk for us, getting an update on the damage that they will be digging into.
Katie, I want to give you a better idea of that damage you're talking about that Hurricane Michael has caused to the Florida coast. Now, at this hour, Michael has been downgraded to a tropical storm as it moves across Georgia. But yesterday, it made landfall as a Category 4 storm. Just listen. Now, what you are watching and hearing is video of Michael at its peak, battering Mexico Beach. The storm packed ferocious winds upwards of 150 miles per hour. And this morning, hundreds of thousands in Florida's Gulf Coast and inland are in the dark, and that number may reach 1 million when all is said and done. Those same people are also under a boil water advisory. Cell service is also out in the area. Now, once Michael passed through Florida, we were able to see the sheer destruction it left behind. Right now, what you are watching is drone video of what looks like a shopping center in Panama City Beach. A part of the structure has completely collapsed, debris piling up in the parking lot, and the roofs of much of these businesses in that same plaza have just blown off. Sydney and Brandon, 2 new Panama City business owners, were in shock to discover that they lost everything to the storm.
My heart stopped. I'm like, no, because it's been a year effort.
I still can't believe it, you know what I mean? I still can't believe it. So my mind is still trying to process this.
And this morning, there have been 2 confirmed deaths. There's also a mandatory curfew that will be in effect throughout the night. This way, first responders can focus on the rescue efforts. And of course, we'll keep you updated on the latest on the now tropical storm Michael's path and the situation on the ground in Florida, Terrence.
Can't even begin to imagine what they're going through. Mona, thank you. We've been following this breaking news all morning. I want to update you now on that Russian Soyuz rocket that had to make an emergency landing. The booster rocket malfunctioned shortly after takeoff early this morning, and the capsule headed back to Earth. About an hour ago, the capsule landed. NASA says they've had contact with the 2 astronauts on board. One is from NASA and the other from Russia. We'll get you the latest information as soon as we get it. Right now, I want to update you on a developing story now. 2 people found dead inside a burning car on Cleveland's east side. Family members say it was their loved ones. Police are now following the clues to a home in Bedford.
And that is where we find our Jesse Schultz. She's joining us live there this morning with what is the connection?
Well, inside that car was the badly burnt body of a man and a woman. Police say it was a rental car and the renter was a man who lived at a home here in Bedford. Family members say they haven't heard from that man and another family member in a couple of days. They fear it was their loved ones found in the burning car. That car was discovered about half an hour from the man's house in an empty lot on Savannah Avenue in East Cleveland. When police followed clues to the house here, they found the back door open, and neighbors say the smell of gasoline was coming from it. Police also found a disturbing scene inside.
Definitely some signs of struggle inside the residence. There's not enough trace evidence to indicate whether it occurred here or where it has occurred at this point. But
there's still a lot of questions surrounding this horrific crime, like who the victims are and just how exactly they died. We're going to continue to follow this story, so stick with News 5. But for now, I'm live in Bedford. Jesse Schultz, News 5.
All right, Jesse, thank you. Breaking overnight, crews on the scene here for hours investigating this crash in Medina County. It happened last night, just after 10 o'clock. It did close US 224 for a bit near Friendsville Road by Cloverleaf High School. We're making calls to find out if anyone was hurt. By the way, though, the road has since reopened. And just last week, there was a deadly crash right in the same area. Right now, police in Elyria are trying to figure out how a car went off a cliff into the Black River. It was a golfer who called police when he found the car just after 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Strangely, though, no one was inside. Officers discovered the Kia SUV was stolen from a nearby apartment complex on Tuesday. So now they're working to figure out how the car ended up here in the river and if anyone was hurt. Only on News 5. 2 months ago, LeBron James I Promise School opened in Akron. And now more donations are making a big difference in the entire district. The school board is accepting more than $400,000, bringing the total donations to almost $3 million. So the money will be used for tutoring, extracurriculars, and additional substitute teachers. But just because the LeBron School is getting more money does not mean the other schools are pulling back on resources. In fact, the superintendent says some I Promise programs may be introduced in other schools in Akron. One dad is already seeing a difference in his daughter.
She was a shy young girl. Now she opened up. I can see the difference in her since she started going. She wanted to go to school.
The district also plans to use the donations to put 10 former and unused Akron school buildings on the auction block. This will help free up more resources for the other public schools. Coming up, could shopping carts be taking over? How Walmart wants to stalk you when you're shopping in their stores.
Also up next, 2 high schools turning their football rivalry into something good, a charity food challenge. Find out if you could handle all that food.
Hi there, everyone. Good morning. Still a lot of cloud cover out there, but the rain showers have moved off to the east. We're starting to see a sharp cutoff of the cloud cover for our western spots. It is going to linger a little bit longer. We'll see some sunshine by this afternoon, but what you'll really notice is the drop in temperature. Already in the low 60s in our western spots. Everybody else starting off in the upper 60s to low 70s. But over the next couple of hours, it's going to get a lot cooler. By 8, 9 o'clock, already in the mid to low 60s, and will pretty much stay steady into the afternoon.
I need your help, but most importantly, we need to beat those bees. Go Bears, and let's keep that golden shoe.
Keep the shoe. All right, that is North Royalton City Councilman Dan Longshaw. There's the shoe right there. And tonight he's turning an 80-year-long football rivalry with Brecksville into a food challenge. He and Brecksville City Councilman Brian Wolf will have 30 minutes to eat. Are you ready for this? 3 pounds of spicy barbecue bacon, 2 mac and cheese balls, 2 burger patties, and 1 pound of fries.
Sign me up.
Money raised goes to charity. The Golden Shoe game between the two teams is tomorrow night. So they're getting ready for the big eat-off. You had me at bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Are you in the mood to spend more time on a commercial flight?
Yeah, the world's longest airline route debuts today. Singapore Airlines has a flight leaving from Newark, New Jersey, heading to Singapore. Now, folks, this flight is 9,500 miles and nearly 19 hours long. So you probably would want to take that upgrade for the recliner seat and get up every couple of hours. You got to stretch those legs out. Yeah, serious. That's a long flight. No.
See, that's where you want to sit, but you try to buy that seat and it's like $20,000. Okay.
Up next, we aren't in Kansas anymore. See what happens when a police officer squares off with the gator.
Plus a Real Housewives star, the husband of one, you know him, Joe. He's getting out of here, but he doesn't want to. Being forced out of the country.
Welcome back. Time right now, 6:45. We are getting our first look this morning at a tunnel discovered under the border between Mexico and the U.S.
Federal officials say the tunnel starts in a home, and inside there's lighting, water, pumps, and solar panels.
It has ventilation, it has electricity, it had a rail system.
The tunnel stretches about 2 football fields. Investigators think drugs would have likely been smuggled through it, but they found the system before they were able to break ground on the U.S. side. The operator of a limo service in New York is out on bond right now.
State police arrested him yesterday for criminally negligent homicide. Investigators say he hired the driver involved in a crash that killed 20 people. Police also found state inspectors labeled that limousine as unserviceable last month. Funeral services for some of the victims are today. Officials say DNA testing proves a teen was bitten by a great white shark last week. That teen was critically injured diving for lobsters in California, but he survived. He was released from the hospital last week. Shark attacks are rare in the southern part of the state, but experts say some sharks move along the coast during the fall season.
We need to smile, right? Let's lighten the mood. This'll do it. Halloween coming early at the Detroit Zoo. Apes, penguins, an anteater. They all got a little taste of pumpkin. The polar bears, though, had the biggest crowds as they dragged their treats around. I wonder if anybody got a little pumpkin spice latte out there for them. Look at those vultures. Yee. Okay. Now let's get some more animal news for you. This gator trying to cross the road, police in Kansas had to respond and wrangle this rowdy reptile.
Oh, Lord. The video shows the 4-foot-long gator lunge at an officer who dared to get close. That deputy pulled his gun out, but never fired.
So the alligator instantly starts hissing and starts running towards us, and it just freaks me out.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, Kansas is the word to focus on here. This animal should not be in Kansas, obviously.
Running like Usain Bolt. Now, you probably guessed this, that gator was someone's pet.
Robert
Always
got
a
out
pet.
again.
Always a pet.
And then this is what happens. It gets too big. They just feel like, oh, I'll just let it loose. Let it be wild gator.
Got to call the police.
and then it ends up on the news, and the cycle repeats itself. Cloudy skies out there this morning. Temperatures in the upper 60s to low 70s. Notice Mansfield a little bit cooler in the mid 60s. Our western spots are cooling off a lot quicker than our eastern areas. So as you head off to work this morning, several of those spots may already be in the upper 50s to low 60s. We'll start to see more clearing of that cloud cover as well. The rain showers at least have moved off to the east, so we are dry this morning. But all of this cool air is going to come crashing in on us. Chicago's at 48. Even parts of Indiana are in the 50s already, so we're going to see some of that cold air move in for us. There's those western spots. Temperatures are dropping. This is 9, 10 o'clock. As you're heading off to work, temperatures in the upper 50s to low 60s there, so we'll have already fallen about 10 degrees and then pretty much staying steady throughout the rest of the afternoon. Maybe rebounding a couple degrees with the sunshine into the low 60s, but it is going to be cool. 5 o'clock. Mid to upper 50s for several spots. We'll start to see some increased cloud cover. This is lake effect cloud cover from that northwest wind, but notice those southwestern spots, Norwalk, Ashland, Millersburg. they're dropping down into the mid to upper 30s. That's going to be some frost for tomorrow morning. So very chilly for tomorrow morning and not very warm in the afternoon. Upper 40s to low 50s. Maybe even some lake effect rain showers will be possible. Late Friday night into early Saturday, we could have some light rain showers as well. But temperatures are going to stay steadily pretty cool over the next several days, well below average for this time of year. The rain showers move out. The temperatures are going to drop later on this afternoon. It doesn't warm up all that much. Our highs are only going to be this afternoon in the low 60s. Now with a look at traffic, let's head out to Air Tracker 5 and John Runner.
Brian, for the most part, traffic things still looking pretty good in the traffic department, but there is a disabled vehicle on 271 northbound. This is right near the interchange with 90. Just the left lane blocked. You can see that there are police on scene for that disabled vehicle. No major slowdown, but it is something that might catch your attention if you are headed northbound on 271, excuse me, right near that interchange with I-90. Now, if we head to our maps, you'll see that we're also issue-free throughout the most part of greater Cleveland. There's a couple of slow patches of traffic going on the Interbelt Bridge and on 480 eastbound. Akron drivers will give you the thumbs up. There is a stalled vehicle on Route 8 southbound near Howe. I don't see any slowdowns in that area. Guys, if something changes, we'll let you know about it.
Now to a consumer alert you need to hear before getting ready this morning.
An investigation by the Associated Press found a toxic metal in jewelry sold nationwide at some retailers you're very familiar with. The metal is called cadmium, and prolonged exposure can cause cancer and reproductive problems. Investigators say stores selling the jewelry included Ross, Nordstrom Rack, and Papaya. Now there were some jewelry entirely made of this metal.
Cadmium is an incredibly toxic metal. Like lead, it causes birth defects. It makes it harder to maintain a pregnancy, and it also makes it harder to get pregnant in the first place.
Some states have passed laws to keep this metal out of children's jewelry, but there's no such legislation